What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into my A10 conference tournament predictions video. This will be our 24th conference tournament video here. We already have a couple, wrapping up yesterday and today. But yeah, let's get into this here. We are just ripping through these, honestly. I think this one will be my last one for tonight. We'll come up with a lot tomorrow. That's the plan, of course. But anyway, let's get into our standings here for the A10. The number one seed in the A10 is Richmond, finishing 15-3 in conference play. Tied up with two-seeded Loyola Chicago, also finishing 15-3 in conference play. And then we get to three-seeded Dayton Flyers, finishing 14-4 in conference play. Dayton is obviously the top 25 team of this conference. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know what makes Dayton so top 25 good. I mean, they lose to Houston earlier this year by 14. They do beat St. John's, LSU. They beat Northwestern, but they are they're like one of the worst. They're like the third best team in the Atlantic 10 conference. So I'm going to be honest, I don't buy into the Dayton hype, but at this point, they're probably a lock to make the NCAA tournament. But then number 4 seed is UMass, finishing 11-7 in conference play, tied up with 5-seeded VCU, also finishing 11-7 in conference play. 6 seed is Duquesne, finishing 10-8 in conference play. Then we got 7-seeded St. Bonaventure's, 8-seeded George Mason, and 9-seed St. Joseph's, all finishing 9-9 in conference play. Then you got a little bit of a dip as we get to the first round games. 10-seeded La Salle, 11-seed Rhode Island, and then also 12-seed Fordham, all finishing 6-12 in conference play. 13-seed Davidson, finishing 5-13 in conference play. 14-seed St. Louis, also finishing 5-13, and then finishing it off with 15-seed George Washington, finishing 4-14 in conference play. All right, but anyway, let's get into our predictions here, and that's going to start out with Fordham versus Davidson. Let's take a look here. Fordham coming into this year lost to Davidson on the 17th of January by 13. That was at Fordham, and Davidson won by 15 on the 20th. So it seems like 13 seed Davidson has had Fordham's number this season. And honestly, I expect that to continue. So give me 13 seed Davidson, just a better program in general. I know this team is on a 5-game losing skid, but so is Fordham on a 3-game losing skid. Honestly, I could see, maybe Fordham coming on top. It's tough to beat a team 3 times as well, but I do believe with Davidson seeming to dominate in each of those matchups, I like them to get the win. All right, 10 La Salle taking on 15 seed George Washington. These two just met, but on the 27th of January, La Salle won by 10, then La Salle won by 6 on the 2nd of March. You know what? Why not go with 15 seed George Washington? And this will make me type it in. I don't know, guys. This is one of those gut picks. Again, like I said, tough to beat a team 3 times. I know George Washington is the worst team in the conference record-wise, but crazy things happen in tournaments. Why not have some fun and go with George Washington? All right. Final matchup in the first round. Rhode Island taking on St. Louis here. These two met. I believe their only matchup was just recently on the 2nd of March, where St. Louis won by 3. Let's go with. This one's an interesting one. I could see it honestly going either way. I'm going to go with 14 seed St. Louis, another upset here. Why not have some fun? Ask me why. I really don't know. Like I said, coin flip type game. But give me St. Louis with the gut pick. All right, that's the first round. Moving on to the second round. We have St. Joseph's taking on George Mason. Let's take a look here. St. Joseph's beat George Mason on the 31st of January by just 2 points. And that was their only matchup. Honestly, just another coin flip type game, guys. Give me 8 seed George Mason. There's a lot of just these coin flip type games. Give me George Mason, though. And then 5 seeded VCU taking on 13 seed Davidson. Just realize all of the lower seeds won in the first round. That doesn't usually happen in this, but, happened this time. But moving on, VCU Davidson. Earlier this year on the 27th of January, Davidson or VCU won by 5. That was at Davidson, and that was their only matchup this year. I do like the 5-seeded VCU. Davidson's coming off a tough matchup versus Fordham. Again, Davidson is just not on the level as a Saint or as a VCU type team is anyway. I know VCU's on a tough 3-game losing skid here, but Davidson's even on a more losing skid with 5 straight. So give me the Rams of VCU to pull off the win. All right, St. Bonaventure's taking on George Washington. So it's going to be a 7 versus a 15 matchup. If we take a look here, St. Bonaventure is a pretty good program, honestly. Made the tournament a couple years ago. They actually just recently lost to St. Bonaventure's by 9. George Washington by 9. St. Bonaventure's is on a 2-game losing skid, but I don't think they lose again. So give me St. Bonaventure's to get the revenge. And then Duquesne taking on St. Louis. 6 versus a 14 seed matchup here. Let's see here. Duquesne played not that. Duquesne played St. Louis on the 20th, and they beat St. Louis by 15. That was their only matchup. Give me 6-seeded Duquesne to handle business against St. Louis and move on. Okay, so all higher seeds after all lower seeds win. Just how it worked out. But then Richmond versus George Mason. Interesting game here. We take a look on the 13th of January. Richmond did win by 7, but then George Mason just yesterday beat Richmond by 18 points. So I don't think Richmond wants to play George Mason this early. Maybe it could be an upset early on, but I do think Richmond's better than that. I do think they will handle business. Maybe they were just, I don't even know, maybe they rested their starters. I seriously doubt that, considering it's college basketball, and that's kind of unheard of, but you never know, because obviously they were locked up as that 1 seed, but I do have Richmond pulling off the win. And then UMass taking on VCU. UMass, interesting team here. We take a look here. UMass did beat VCU by 22 on the 20th. That was at UMass, 20th of February. That was their only matchup. VCU is on a cold streak right now. And UMass is on a hot streak. So give me 4-seeded UMass to get the win. Pretty simple on that one. Okay, 2-seeded Loyola Chicago taking on 7-seed St. Bonaventures. These teams played on the 27th of February. St. Bonaventures won by 15. Loyola Chicago, obviously a very good program. I do think Loyola Chicago gets the revenge. Give me the 2 seed to move on. Kind of going a little bit chalky here, but next up we have the Dayton team, ranked number 3, taking on Duquesne. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't trying to hate on Dayton earlier. This is a great program. They're a good team, but they've been a little bit inconsistent, just saying. On the 12th of January, Dayton beat Duquesne by 10. That was at Duquesne. But I believe that was their only matchup. Yes. Could Dayton get upset early? I could see it happening. But Duquesne's coming off a tough matchup. You know what? Give me Duquesne. Why not? Not to hate on Dayton. I don't have a great feeling about them. I think they're a little bit overrated, honestly. And I like Duquesne as a team. So give me Duquesne in the upset. Got to go with one there. I think that one's a good one to go with it. All right, Richmond versus UMass. 1 versus a 4-seeded team. Richmond coming into this one UMass actually beat Richmond on the 14th of February. That was at Richmond. So an interesting game here, guys. Do we go with the UMass upset? Honestly, I am. Richmond's a good team. They're obviously finished 15-3 in the conference for a reason, but they did just lose to George Mason. They're a good team, but I do think they could lose early. UMass coming off a good game. Just going to go with a gut pick there and go with UMass. So give me 4-seeded team. And then 2-seeded Loyola Chicago taking on Duquesne. On the 6th of January, Loyola beat Duquesne by 5. And then we take a look here. And that was it. That's the only time those two played. Loyola, Duquesne, 2 versus a 6. Give me Loyola. Yeah, I like Loyola Chicago in that game. So for the championship, we got UMass and we got Loyola Chicago. I don't think either of these teams will make the NCAA tournament, but obviously a bid thief with Dayton losing. Let's see. Loyola did beat UMass by a point on the 17th. UMass hasn't been a great basketball program, honestly, all time. Loyola has. Give me... honestly, could go either way. I'm going to go with 2-seeded Loyola Chicago. Fighting Sister Jeans here, pulling off the win. All right. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching my Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament video. Comment down below your predictions. Anyway, guys, peace out.